Super Mario Land was released in 1989 as the premier launch title for the Game Boy. Released a year after Super Mario Bros. 2 in the US, it instead resembled the original. Which is not to say that Super Mario Land is a pseudo-port to a portable platform. Far from it. It's an original concept made by a team led by Gunpei Yokoi, the creator of the Game Boy, without any input from Shigeru Miyamoto. What results is a very unique experience. Super Mario Land feels like a beta version of the original Super Mario Bros. It's as if they've locked down the concept of what it means to be a Super Mario game. What's left is detail and polish. And so Super Mario Land feels like a really good beta. You know it could be better because you've already played the finished product, Super Mario Bros. In Super Mario Land, you venture to Sarasasa Land to save your side piece Princess Daisy from the spaceman Tatanga. If that doesn't sound like a whiteboard idea that was jettisoned for the Mushroom Kingdom, I don't know what does. Each of the 4 worlds has a different theme, the first starting out jarringly Egyptian. You then venture to an aquatic theme world, an Easter Island theme world, and finally a Japanese themed world, complete with a "I think I'm turning Japanese" stinger. These distinct worlds grant Super Mario Land its own identity. They aren't bad, they're just strikingly different from anything else in Mario lore. The enemies Mario faces are similarly unique. The first you see is a typical Goomba, but the next is what looks like a tiny Koopa Troopa. This guy has a surprise for you. The shell explodes seconds after you jump on him, making for a much more difficult enemy to deal with than you might think. After these two, things go off the charts weird. Highlights include sprinting rolling Easter Island heads, jumping fish bones, and skipping ninja girls. Differences don't end with looks either. Controlling Mario feels different, and you will need to reorient yourself. His walk is slower, and his run is faster. You will need to be very careful when the B button is held down, lest you run off the end of skinny platforms. When he falls, Mario feels like he's holding a bowling ball. Airborne movement feels inconsistent. Sometimes Mario's jumps are slower than they feel they should be. With the shrunken nature of the graphics, when things get tight, you are performing more precise platforming with controls that feel slightly off. But that doesn't make this a hard game. Super Mario Land doesn't ask for that kind of precision often. There are 3 levels each in the 4 worlds, and only towards the very end do things get somewhere approaching dicey. There are also 2 shooter levels, which don't offer much challenge, but are a very entertaining change of pace. Some levels end with 2 exits. Taking the higher one will gain access to a bonus stage where you can win extra lives. Most levels oddly repeat small sections multiple times, but that was likely to save space on the early Game Boy cartridges, which featured tiny amounts of memory. Enemies aren't as numerous as in Super Mario Bros., but neither are power-ups. So you won't see the slightly different flower power-up nearly as much. It's not a fireball that rolls around the ground, instead it bounces off the ground and flies diagonally through the sky. It's amazing how Super Mario Land feels so different and similar to its predecessor at the same time. Ultimately, Super Mario Land was not the defining system seller for the Game Boy that Nintendo intended it to be. That was Tetris. And while it's a classic, it will forever be a weird one. Here's a terrible comparison. Super Mario Bros. Is a salad made of romaine lettuce, and Super Mario Land is made of spinach mix. They are both pretty much the same thing, and from afar look nearly identical. But the closer you get, the more you notice the small differences. They both taste like salad, because they're both salad. But if you are used to one, the other is just going to taste odd. No matter how good it is, that difference is the major takeaway.